WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have Lagavulin, Diageo Special Release 2021. For the last, I think, 20 some years, it's been a 12-year-old. This time it's 56.5%. The Lion's Fire, you can see this a little bit here. The mane of the lion is on fire, and it's whiskey-based number. I have the 700 milliliter bottle. It's 192745, and if you have the 750, it's going to be 198297. All right, so we have prices over here in Europe. Excuse me, we have prices over here in Germany between 129 and 159 for exactly the same bottle at exactly the same everything. So I always find that interesting. 30 euros difference for the exact same thing. All right, so now I'll be actually trying this in a second, but as some of you may know, I actually had the privilege in May 2022, just a few weeks ago, months ago, but it feels like just weeks ago, I had the privilege of being at the Lagavulin distillery. I lost part of my heart there. I love the landscape. I'm going to always think back on that magical moment over on the other side of the bay, basically, from the ruins of the castle, looking down on the distillery. The most, for me, beautiful, iconic distillery on Islay. Personal opinion. Now, we did a very, very standard tour there. It's called the Lagavulin Classic Tour. 22 pounds is what we paid for it. And since I was the driver, I got my driver drams here. So there's a beautiful little box here. So you have to slide this over. The tour guide complained about having to actually build these boxes because they had to fold them and so on. And I have drams. I have 1, 2, 3. You think there's a label on these? No. I have to take a look at my old picture, which was from May, so we have August, so July, June, May, so 3 months ago, a quarter of a year ago. I have to take a look at my picture to figure out which one's 1, 2, and 3. Yes, driver drams are supposed to be probably drunk in the evening after you got back from the distillery. Oh well. Now, the tour was excellent. Our tour guide was fantastic. The drams that were given to us were, okay, nothing special. Then we waited around for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and we were able to do, and this is what I recommend everyone in the world do, the warehouse experience tour from Lagavulin. 38 pounds, do it. Believe me, you will not regret it. All right, you have the infamous or the famous Ian MacArthur. He'll still be around for a couple more years, I think, but then he's going to retire. We had the following drams. For example, one guy from our from the tour actually had a birthday, and then he got actually a 25-year-old Lagavulin cask strength. He had a dram, he had a Glencairn, and they filled the Glencairn up to here, or Ian MacArthur filled it up to there. It was fantastic. We sang happy birthday. It was wonderful. We have from Fashil 2021, which actually didn't happen. The 13-year-old here. At least it didn't happen at the distillery. We have the Lagavulin exclusive, the warehouse exclusive there. We have a Lagavulin 10, which I really, really like. And we actually have here the Jazz 2015. Now, this is 2022, so this is 7 years later. They still have a barrel that they're still pulling samples from. That's amazing. And what I'm going to compare it to, and that's why the whole little spiel at the beginning, I have here Lagavulin 12-year-old. Cask strength directly from the cask at the warehouse. Pulled by Ian MacArthur and his great assistant. This time we had a female assistant, and she actually labeled those and gave me these driver's drams. Thank you. One of the best labeling and one of the best duties actually done there. So I'm going to compare the two. Now, don't forget, the tour was, as I said, 38 pounds. If you're looking for a 25-year-old Lagavulin, so about 2 CLs, which I have here, you're going to be paying 35 pounds. So you get this in your price plus everything else. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. You cannot leave the island of Islay without going to a warehouse experience at Lagavulin. All right? So if I were to rank my experience at the distilleries, the distillery that disappointed me the most, I'm so sorry, I've mentioned this before, our tour guide and I just did not really sync that well, or our group, Atbeg. It wasn't great. The next one, which was fun, but I really don't like the whiskey as much. I don't like Atbeg. I like Atbeg the least of all the Islay distilleries. Is going to be Lagavulin. Lagavulin Lafroig. So Atbeg Lafroig. Then we're going to put Kilchoman. Beautiful distillery. Beautiful thing they're doing. It just doesn't really ring my bell. All right. So, and then we probably have Lagavulin above that. For drinking experiences, Bowmore, because Bowmore doesn't hurt. That was my number one experience at a whiskey distillery. I was in the molding floors. I got to walk and pull the wagon behind me and turn the malt. We were able to climb up into the smoker chamber where they were actually smoking the malt, and we were actually in there, and we had got to experience that. Our tour guide and the tour was just absolutely fantastic. Just wow. I know that the standard Bowmore is not great, but hey, I'm thinking about my experience there. At Naho, we visited, but I could only try the new make. So, and then actually, I would have to go up to a Bruichladdich, and then above that, I love Buna. So Buna is just one of those things that is just, can be magical. Yeah, so those are some of the different distilleries, and if I were to actually integrate Jura in between there, Jura would be probably above Bowmore because it has not that peatiness to it. So the unpeated and then the peated malts down below. Did I forget any? So we have those. We have, well, I didn't try any Port Ellen. So we have Kilchoman. We have, Coila. I did. The Coila distillery was closed. It was still being renovated. So I didn't actually have that. So I think I'd rather have a Lagavulin rather than a Coila. All right, good. So my ranking is not perfect. All right, very, very good. So maybe I'm just stalling. 56.5%. This is a smokiness with a light citrus moment together with a little bit of saltiness and a little bit of a hay moment going on here. A lot of smokiness, like a barbecue smoke, like fat dripping down onto the coals of the barbecue. This, on the other hand, there's so much more of a vanilla sweetness going on here. There's a light little bit of oak on there. The smoke is much better, much perfectly almost integrated here. Another reason to go on the warehouse tour, you get stuff you'll never get anywhere else. Probably never again. And some of the best stuff they're going to be able to make there. This is fabulous. It's cask strength. It's 12-year-old. Doesn't even have half of the alcohol bite as this 56.5 one does. All right. Cheers. Mm-hmm. This whiskey's hot. It seems to have some fairly inactive casks involved as well. It's not doing it for me. I get a little bit of a mineral type of orange peel, no, lemon peel type of seagrass moment going on here with a lot of that peatiness. Now the peatiness can be campfire, can be barbecue. In this case, it's almost as if it's actually a little bit of an asphalt moment. A little bit of bitumen, like tar. It's not burnt rubber, but it's a little bit tar moment going on here. Really, really not the most pleasant whiskey for me. Other people are going to try and go, oh, this is fantastic. Now, what is fantastic, in my opinion, is this one. This is actually, and I'm not a peathead, this is a C+ whiskey here. Mm. Mm. That vanilla, the wood, a little bit of leather, a tiny bit of coffee and caramel, toffee and caramel. The smoke is there, but it's not like tar. It's like a peat that should be well integrated, and the alcohol, a wonderful supporting moment the way it should be. This attacks your tongue and just hammers it. And I added water. I took that 56.5% down like 52, 53. It was still hot. I went for 48 this time. Let's see if the 48% tames this beast. Yeah, the nose is better. Mm. Yeah, I pretty much hit the 48%. It's a shame. There's still a little bit of an alcohol bite in here. It still has that, despite its 12 years of age, there's some very inactive casks in here. Um, it just doesn't cut it for me. This is not, in my personal opinion, a very well-made whiskey. Has less to do with the peat moment and more to do with the actual delivery of this whiskey, the aftertaste, the whole performance. I find it lacking. The Warehouse 12, oh, bottle this and you're going to sell a lot of whiskey. You can put this up at a much, much higher price as well. Now, talking about the price, as I said, somewhere between 130 and 160. In America, I looked a little bit briefly here. The 750 milliliter bottles I found for somewhere between 160, 100. Benny's Beverage Depot has it for $160, which actually is not bad. And Prestige Wines in California, no, it's not Canada has it at the moment for 260 Canadian dollars, which seems like a lot for me. All right, question of the day. I'm going to give this a value for money of a D and a taste experience of a C minus. This C plus, almost a B minus. Like, can you get it? No. Go to the Warehouse experience on Islay at the Distillery Lagavulin. Then you might be able to get something, but the cask might be empty as well. Who knows by the time you make it over. And that's the genuinely unique experience of being at a warehouse tasting, if at all possible. Yes, I know people from America, people even from London to go up to Islay it's a haul. For me, from Germany to get over there, I fly into Edinburgh. From Edinburgh, I could fly over to Islay, which I didn't do. I have to take the car. It's a 4.5 hour drive, basically. Take the ferry over and spend some time there. It's a mecca. It's a journey. It's actually a pilgrimage. Something you want to do. It's not something like, say, sometimes I'm driving from A to B, and it's like, wait a second. Oh, isn't that distillery along the way? It's like maybe a 10-minute detour. Oh, I could just stop off there for half an hour. You can't do that with Islay. Either you want to go there or you're not there. This is not something that's along the way. Yeah, so when I was in Edinburgh, it's like, oh, well, we have one morning before the flight leaves in the afternoon. We could go to Holyrood. Yay! We'll just go visit a distillery on Sunday morning. No problem. Here, you can't do that. And so I understand, but you do get some magical, mystical, wonderful, special stuff. All right, question of the day. What is your favorite cask strength Lagavulin? Is it one of the 20 editions here of the special releases from Diageo, or do you have something totally different that you can highly, highly recommend? Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, telling others, and maybe even share this video about my wonderful experience. And it's Jason commands you to do a Lagavulin warehouse experience tour. Yeah, all the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.